First Contact's Ultimatum. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the window of her quantum research facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, watching snowflakes dance in the evening air. The same snow had been falling for hours, but these particular flakes had caught her attention because they were falling upward. Dr. Chen, the facility's AI announced, "Admiral Rivera has arrived." She didn't turn from the window. How many others have noticed? 3 research teams have reported gravitational anomalies in the last hour. Similar reports are coming in from quantum facilities in Geneva, Beijing, and Antarctica. The door slid open with a soft hiss, and Admiral Marcus Rivera's reflection appeared in the window beside hers. He was still in his dress uniform, likely coming straight from another UN Security Council meeting. "They're early," Sarah said, finally turning to face him. "We predicted we had at least another month before they detected our quantum signature." Marcus nodded, his expression grim. "The collective's diplomatic vessel entered orbit 20 minutes ago. They're requesting an immediate audience with Earth's leadership." Sarah walked to her desk and activated the holographic display, bringing up real-time feeds from orbital satellites. The alien ship hung above Earth like a crystalline snowflake, its design more artwork than engineering. Beautiful, but its presence made her stomach knot. "How much do they know?" she asked. "Based on their initial transmission, they think we've just discovered basic quantum tunneling. They have no idea about the defense grid, the fleet, or your breakthrough." Marcus smiled slightly. "They still think we're primitive newcomers who need their protection." Sarah pulled up another display, this one showing the status of Project Starbridge. Deep beneath the Earth's oceans and mountains, thousands of quantum cores pulsed in perfect harmony, creating a web of interconnected fields that spanned the solar system. 5 years of work, all done in absolute secrecy. The collective's entire empire is built on keeping younger civilizations dependent and controlled, Sarah said, bringing up historical data they'd gathered through covered quantum probes. "They offer protection, but it's really submission. Any race that accepts their terms ends up as little more than a resource farm." Marcus stepped closer to the display, studying the collective vessel. "The Security Council is convening in 1 hour. They're expecting both of us to attend." He paused, looking at her carefully. "Are you sure the quantum shield will work?" Sarah gestured at the snow outside, still falling upward around the facility. "The localized field is already affecting gravity in a 10-kilometer radius. Once we bring the full grid online, their weapons won't just be ineffective, they'll backfire." An alert flashed across her display. The collective ship was launching shuttles. "They're sending their diplomatic team to New York," Marcus said, straightening his uniform. "Time to play our parts." Sarah nodded, already changing from her lab coat into the formal business attire she kept in her office. They had rehearsed this moment for years. The collective would arrive expecting to find a young, naive civilization eager for their guidance. They would offer their protection, present their terms, and expect grateful acceptance. Instead, they would discover that humanity had spent the last 5 years preparing for this exact moment. Every nation had united behind a single purpose, putting aside old rivalries to face this threat together. While the collective's scouts watched Earth's visible technology level, humanity had made quantum leaps in secret. As Sarah and Marcus headed for their transport, she caught one last glimpse of the snowfall through a window. The flakes were now swirling in complex patterns, responding to the strengthening quantum field. Soon, very soon, the collective would learn that humanity was done being underestimated. The UN General Assembly Hall had been modified for this historic meeting. The usual rows of seats had been replaced with a circular arrangement, with Earth's representatives on one side and space for the collective's diplomats on the other. Sarah sat between Marcus and the Chinese quantum research director, Dr. Liu, while political leaders from every major nation filled the remaining seats. The collective's diplomatic team made their entrance with practiced ceremony. 3 tall, ethereal beings glided into the chamber, their translucent robes shifting with colors that shouldn't exist. The lead diplomat, who introduced himself as High Speaker Velen, took the central position. Esteemed representatives of Earth, Velon began, his words translated by a device that created the illusion of him speaking perfect English. We come with congratulations and an offer of friendship. Your achievement in reaching the first level of quantum understanding has brought you to the attention of the collective. Sarah kept her expression neutral, though inside she wanted to laugh. First level. They had surpassed the collective's understanding of quantum mechanics years ago. We are here, Velon continued, to offer Earth the protection and guidance of the collective. For 50,000 years, we have shepherded young civilizations through the dangers of early space development. Under our protection, you will be safe to develop at an appropriate pace. The high speaker gestured, and a holographic display filled the center of the chamber. It showed images of various alien worlds and species, all apparently thriving under collective rule. What it didn't show, Sarah knew, was how those worlds were stripped of resources, their populations kept technologically dependent. Of course, another diplomat added smoothly, there would be certain reasonable restrictions. All quantum research would need to be overseen by collective advisors. Space travel would be limited to your solar system until you reach an appropriate development stage. Trade with other civilizations would be conducted through collective intermediaries. For your protection. Sarah glanced at Marcus, seeing her own carefully hidden anger reflected in his eyes. The collective didn't want allies. They wanted servants. The protection they offered was a cage, designed to prevent Earth from ever becoming strong enough to challenge their dominion. We have prepared the standard protection treaties, Velon said, transmitting documents to the tablets in front of each human representative. Once signed, Earth will officially become a protected world of the collective. Your future will be secure. The UN Secretary-General rose slowly, her face a diplomatic mask. This is quite an offer, High Speaker Velon. However, such an important decision will require careful consideration. We request 24 hours to review the terms. Sarah could see the momentary confusion in Velon's expression. In 50,000 years, no civilization had ever asked for time to consider. They had all accepted immediately, either out of fear or naive gratitude. Of course, Velon said slowly. We will await your response. As the diplomats filed out, Sarah's tablet lit up with a message from her quantum research team. The defense grid was fully operational. Around the world, hidden facilities were coming online. Quantum cores pulsed in perfect harmony, creating an invisible web of power that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of what humanity could do. 24 hours. In 24 hours, the collective would learn that humanity had outgrown their offered cage before they had even arrived to build it. They didn't even notice, Marcus whispered as they left the chamber. All that quantum activity right under their noses, and they didn't detect any of it. Sarah smiled. They see what they expect to see. And right now, they expect to see primitive humans awed by their advanced technology. She looked up at the evening sky, where the collected ship still hung like a jewel among the stars. Tomorrow, everything would change. Tomorrow, humanity would show the galaxy that they weren't just another species to be conquered and controlled. Tomorrow, the stars themselves would tremble. The silent response. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility unknown to the collective, Sarah Chen watched streams of data flow across her quantum displays. Each line represented information gathered by humanity's hidden network of quantum sensors, painting a picture of the collective's true nature that grew darker by the hour. Show me the Procyon system again, she said to the eye. The holographic display shifted, revealing a star system 40 light-years from Earth. What the collective called a protected world circled the star. The quantum sensors revealed the truth. Massive mining operations stripped the planet's resources, while its native population remained confined to small habitable zones, their technology carefully controlled. Dr. Chen, the AI announced, Admiral Rivera is requesting entrance. Let him in. Marcus strode into the room, accompanied by Dr. Liu and representatives from 3 other quantum research facilities. Their faces were grim. The Security Council meeting just ended, Marcus said. They'd reviewed all the data we've gathered on the Collective's other protected worlds. It's unanimous. Sarah nodded. They're not protectors. They're parasites. Worse, Dr. Liu added, pulling up additional sensor data. Look at these energy signatures from their ship. They're preparing weapons systems while pretending to wait for our diplomatic response. The quantum displays showed energy building in hidden compartments throughout the Collective's diplomatic vessel. Their beautiful ship was a weapon, ready to force Earth's compliance if their offer of protection was rejected. They're so certain we'll accept, Marcus said, his voice tight with controlled anger, that they're already setting up orbital platforms around Mars and Venus. Mining equipment disguised as observation posts. Sarah walked to the center of the room, where a new hologram showed Earth's hidden defenses. Quantum cores pulsed beneath every major city, mountain range, and ocean. Ships that the Collective's sensors registered as simple cargo vessels carried weapons that would pierce their most advanced shields. Are we ready? She asked. Dr. Liu gestured, and new data streams appeared. The quantum shield network is stable. We've successfully tested it against every weapon type we've observed in the Collective's arsenal. Their energy weapons will be reflected back at them. Their matter displacement bombs will collapse harmlessly. And the fleet. Marcus brought up a tactical display. Hidden in underground bases, underwater hangars, and camouflaged mountain facilities, Earth's ships waited. Not the primitive vessels the Collective had observed, but ships equipped with quantum drives and weapons that operated on principles the Collective had never imagined. 300 ships ready to launch the moment we give the signal. The lunar base is fully operational, and Mars Defense Station Alpha can deploy within minutes. Sarah studied the displays, thinking about the journey that had brought them here. 5 years ago, when humanity first detected the quantum signatures of approaching Collective scouts, they had faced a choice. They could develop openly and be subjugated like countless civilizations before them, or they could hide their true progress and prepare. They had chosen preparation. Every nation had contributed resources and personnel to the secret quantum research facilities. While the Collective watched Earth's visible technology level, humanity made breakthrough after breakthrough in hidden labs across the planet. New data incoming, the AI announced. The displays shifted to show quantum scans of other protected worlds. Ships were moving, fleets gathering. The Collective wasn't just preparing to subdue Earth. They were mobilizing forces across their entire empire. They're not taking any chances, Marcus observed. That's a lot of firepower for a primitive world. They sensed something's wrong, Dr. Liu said. Our reaction wasn't what they expected. No species has ever asked for time to consider their offer. Sarah walked to a window that looked out into the ocean depths. Schools of bioluminescent fish swam past, unaware that humanity's fate was being decided in this underwater facility. The quantum shield network had been her life's work, born from theories that the Collective had dismissed as impossible. How many other civilizations? She asked quietly. How many worlds have they enslaved while pretending to protect them? At least 300 active protectorates, Marcus answered. And those are just the ones we can detect with our current sensor range. The alert flashed across the displays. The Collected ship was broadcasting again, demanding an immediate response to their offer. Their weapon systems were now fully charged. They're getting impatient, Dr. Liu noted. They're not used to waiting. Sarah turned from the window. Show me the quantum core synchronization. The displays filled with waves of data, showing thousands of quantum cores pulsing in perfect harmony. Each core was a marvel of engineering, capable of manipulating space-time in ways the Collective thought impossible. Together, they formed a defense network that would change the balance of power in the galaxy. Core synchronization at 99.98%. The AI reported. All systems nominal. Sarah looked at her colleagues, the best minds Earth had to offer, all working together toward this moment. Send the signal to all facilities. Begin final preparations. As her orders were relayed, She thought about the collective's arrogance. They had assumed humanity would behave like every other young civilization they had encountered. They had expected gratitude, submission, acceptance. They were about to learn how wrong they were. "Dr. Chen," the AI announced, "the President is ready for your final briefing." Sarah nodded to Marcus and Dr. Liu. "Show them nothing until it's time. Let them think their weapons have us cornered. Let them think we're struggling with their offer." As she headed for the briefing room, alerts showed more collective ships entering the solar system. They were positioning themselves for a show of force, ready to demonstrate the consequences of defying their protection. But humanity had spent 5 years preparing for this moment. In hidden facilities around the world, soldiers moved to their stations. Engineers powered up machines the collective had never dreamed possible. And in the depths of the Pacific Ocean, quantum cores pulsed with power that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of what humanity could achieve. The time for silence was almost over. Soon, Earth would give the collective their response, and it would echo across the stars. Operation Starburst. The collective's high speaker Velen stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching Earth rotate slowly beneath him. In 50,000 years of guiding younger races, he had never encountered such an irritating situation. 24 hours had stretched into 48, then 72, and still the humans delayed their response. High Speaker, his second-in-command, reported, "The pacification fleet has arrived. All ships are in position." 500 ships now surrounded Earth, their weapons charged and ready. It was the largest show of force the collective had mounted in 10,000 years. Surely now the humans would understand the futility of resistance. "Send the message," Velen ordered. On Earth's surface, in every major city, massive holoprojectors activated. Velen's image appeared in the skies, his translucent form towering above the buildings. "People of Earth," his voice boomed, translated into every human language simultaneously, "your time for consideration has ended. The collective's protection is not optional. You have 1 hour to accept our terms, or we will be forced to demonstrate the consequences of defiance." In the underwater command center, Sarah Chen watched the transmission with a small smile. Behind her, quantum cores pulsed with accumulated power, and tactical displays showed Earth's hidden fleet ready for launch. "Status report," she said quietly. "Quantum shield at full power," Dr. Liu responded. "All cores synchronized at 100%. The collective sensors still show only standard EM emissions from Earth's surface." Admiral Rivera studied the tactical displays showing the collective's fleet positions. "They've arranged themselves in a standard siege formation, just as our simulations predicted." Sarah nodded. The collective's arrogance made them predictable. They had used the same tactics, the same strategies, for thousands of years. Why change what had always worked? "They expect us to either submit or attempt some futile gesture of resistance," she said. "Begin Operation Starburst. Signal all commands. Execute on my mark." Around the world, in hidden facilities deep beneath the Earth's surface, crews prepared for battle. Ships that the collective's sensors registered as simple satellites or orbital debris powered up weapons that operated on principles the aliens had never encountered. 45 minutes until their deadline, Marcus noted. "The collective is deploying their mining platforms. They're so confident of victory, they're already preparing to strip our resources." Sarah watched the countdown timer, remembering all the simulations, all the tests. The quantum shield wasn't just a defensive measure, it was a fundamental reimagining of how space-time could be manipulated. The collective's weapons relied on conventional physics. They were about to learn that humanity had moved beyond conventional. "Mark," she said softly. Across Earth's surface, quantum cores pulsed in unison. Energy rippled through subspace in ways the collective's sensors couldn't detect. In high orbit, their mining platforms suddenly lost power, their systems completely dead. On his flagship, Velen frowned at the reports. Some kind of primitive EMP weapon. Amusing, but futile. Launch the first wave off. His words cut off as every screen on his bridge went dark. The ship's engines fell silent. Even their artificial gravity flickered. "What's happening?" he demanded. "Report." "Unknown energy field spreading through the fleet," his science officer reported, voice shaking. "Our systems are being changed somehow. The laws of physics. They're different inside the field." Sarah's voice replaced Velen's image in Earth's skies. "Attention, collective forces. For 50,000 years, you have posed as protectors while enslaving younger races. That ends today. From the oceans, mountains, and deserts, humanity's ships rose. Not the primitive vessels the collective had observed, but ships that slipped through space-time like fish through water. The quantum shield expanded outward, enveloping the entire solar system in a field where the collective's weapons were worse than useless. They backfired, turning their own energy against them. Impossible. Velen shouted as his flagship's weapons overloaded, destroying their own emitters. They're primitives. They barely understand quantum mechanics. That's where you're wrong. Sarah's voice came through every speaker on every collective ship. We understood quantum mechanics 5 years ago. We've moved far beyond that now. Earth's fleet engaged the collective's ships with devastating efficiency. Quantum-based weapons passed through their shields as if they didn't exist. Ships that tried to escape found their fold space drives unable to function within the quantum field. All collective vessels, Marcus's voice joined Sarah's in the transmission. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Resist, and you will be disabled. In the underwater command center, Sarah watched the tactical displays with grim satisfaction. The collective's mighty fleet was being systematically dismantled by ships they hadn't even known Earth possessed. Multiple collective vessels attempting to transmit distress signals, Dr. Liu reported. The quantum field is blocking all their communications. Let them watch, Sarah said. The collective needs to understand that humanity isn't like the other races they've subjugated. We're not seeking their protection or their approval. On the main display, collective ships were surrendering one by one. Their weapons were useless, their engines dead, their mighty technology rendered impotent by human ingenuity. "Dr. Chen," the AI announced, "we're detecting quantum fluctuations from the outer system. More collective ships incoming." Sarah smiled. "Good. The more they send, the more we'll witness their defeat. Humanity won't be controlled, contained, or suppressed. And after today, neither will any other race in the galaxy." The battle continued, but its outcome was already certain. The age of the collective's dominion was ending, and a new era was about to begin. An era where humanity would help free the very civilizations the collective had claimed to protect. Operation Starburst wasn't just a defensive action. It was humanity's announcement to the galaxy. The time of submission was over. The time of freedom had begun. The hunter becomes the hunted. The Procyon system blazed in the tactical display as Earth's liberation fleet dropped out of quantum transit. Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the EFS Defiance, watching as sensors mapped the collective's exploitation infrastructure around the enslaved world. Multiple collective vessels detected, the AI reported. They're attempting to purge their mining facilities and evacuate. Admiral Rivera, commanding from his flagship in the secondary battle group, transmitted his assessment. Classic scorched earth tactics. They're trying to destroy evidence of their resource theft before retreating. Sarah's hands tightened on the command rail. Not this time. Dr. Liu, deploy the quantum anchors. Across the Procyon system, human ships released devices that pulsed with quantum energy. Space-time rippled as the quantum field established itself, trapping the collective ships in normal space. Their fold space drives sputtered and died, leaving them stranded. Attention collective forces, Sarah broadcast on all frequencies. This is Dr. Sarah Chen of Earth's Liberation Fleet. Your vessels are contained. Surrender and prepare for boarding. On the planet's surface, the native Procyans were emerging from their restricted habitation zones. Humanoid but with iridescent skin and 4 arms, they had been kept at a pre-industrial technology level for centuries, while the collective stripped their world's resources. Dr. Chen, the AI announced, "We're receiving a transmission from the surface. The Protean Liberation Council wishes to speak with you." The holographic display shifted, showing a group of Protean leaders. Their expressions conveyed both hope and disbelief as Sarah explained Earth's intention to free them from collective control. We had forgotten there could be resistance," their lead speaker said, voice trembling. "The collective told us all advanced races joined them willingly, that their protection was the only way to survive in the galaxy." "They lied," Sarah replied simply. "Earth refused their protection, and will help any other civilization that wants to be free. We've brought quantum technology that will let you defend yourselves, engineers who can help you rebuild, and most importantly, the truth about what the collective has been doing across the galaxy." As she spoke, Earth's ships were systematically disabling the collective's mining operations. Other vessels landed to provide medical aid and begin environmental restoration. The quantum field prevented any collective reinforcements from arriving. In the 3 months since Operation Starburst, this scene had played out across dozens of star systems. Each liberated world joined Earth's growing alliance, adding their unique perspectives and abilities to the cause of freedom. "Admiral," the tactical officer called out, "we're detecting unusual energy readings from the largest collective facility on the surface." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Analysis. It appears to be some kind of quantum data core," Dr. Liu reported from his research station. "Much more sophisticated than anything we found at other mining sites." "The collective maintained a regional headquarters here," the Protean leader explained. "They used it to coordinate their operations in this sector of space." Sarah exchanged looks with Marcus over the quantum link. This could be the intelligence breakthrough they'd been waiting for. "Deploy quantum infiltration teams," she ordered. "I want that facility secured before they can destroy any data. And get me a direct link to Earth Command. They'll want to hear about this." Hours later, Sarah stood in the captured collective facility, surrounded by holographic displays of the data they'd recovered. The scope of the collective's exploitation was staggering. Thousands of worlds, not just hundreds as they'd initially thought, all being systematically stripped of resources, while their populations were kept ignorant and dependent. "They call it the Generation Protocol," Dr. Liu explained, translating the collective's records. "Each enslaved world is kept at a specific technology level for centuries, then allowed to advance slightly before being moved to the next phase of resource extraction. Look at these population statistics," Marcus added, his voice tight with anger. "They deliberately engineer famines and disasters to keep population levels manageable. Entire generations living and dying in artificial scarcity, while their world's wealth goes to feed the collective's empire." Sarah studied the data, her determination hardening. Earth had struck the first blow against the collective, but this was just the beginning. Their enemy was vast, controlling most of the known galaxy through their network of protectorates and hidden exploitation. "Send all of this to Earth Command," she ordered, "and prepare a data package for broadcast to every world we've liberated. The galaxy needs to know the full truth about their protectors." New alerts flashed across the displays. The quantum sensor network they'd been establishing among freed worlds had detected massive fleet movements. The collective was mobilizing everything they had. "They're getting desperate," Marcus observed. "Our liberation campaign is threatening their entire power structure. They can't allow other worlds to see that resistance is possible." Sarah nodded. They'd spent 50,000 years carefully maintaining this system of control. Now it's falling apart in a matter of months. She walked to the facility's main window, looking out at the Protean sunset. Teams of Earth engineers were already working with local scientists, sharing quantum technology that would help them defend their independence. Similar scenes were playing out on every world they freed. "Dr. Chen," the AI reported, "we're receiving requests for assistance from 37 other occupied systems. Word of our liberation campaign is spreading faster than the collective can contain it." Sarah smiled. The collective had thought their biggest mistake was letting Earth refuse their protection. But their real mistake had been more fundamental. They had assumed that all younger races would behave like them, seeking power through control and dominance. Instead, humanity had chosen a different path. Earth's fleet didn't come to conquer or control. They came to free, to share knowledge, to help others stand on their own. Plot courses to the nearest occupied systems, she ordered. Priority to worlds where the collective's grip is weakest. And update the quantum shield specifications. I want every liberated world to have full defensive capabilities within days of contact. As Earth's fleet prepared to jump to their next targets, Sarah looked at the tactical display showing collective forces mass for what they probably thought would be a decisive battle. They still didn't understand what they were facing. This wasn't just a military campaign. It was a revolution of ideas spreading across the stars at quantum speed. And ideas, once freed, could never be caged again. A new dawn. The Collective's home system hung before them. 7 red giant stars arranged in perfect heptagonal formation. Sarah Chen had seen the simulations, but the reality was far more impressive. Each star had been carefully engineered over millennia, their orbits adjusted to create this symbol of the Collective's power. Artificial stellar manipulation on a massive scale, Dr. Liu whispered, his sensors drinking in data. This is how they've maintained their technological superiority. They've had 50,000 years to perfect their craft. The combined Liberation Fleet filled the tactical display around the EF's Defiance. 500 Earth ships had become 5,000, joined by vessels from every world they'd freed. Each civilization had brought their own unique contributions to the Alliance. Procyon quantum harmonics, Centaurian shield modifications, Rigelian energy systems. Multiple collective signatures detected. The AI announced. They've assembled their entire remaining fleet. Sarah nodded. After 6 months of liberation campaigns, it had come to this. The Collective had withdrawn all their forces to defend their seat of power. 20,000 ships waited ahead, representing the full might of their ancient empire. All ships, battle positions. Admiral Rivera ordered from his flagship. Remember the plan. The Collective expects us to fight like they do, with brute force and overwhelming numbers. Sarah smiled. That's not humanity's way. Dr. Liu, begin quantum field initialization. Across the Liberation Fleet, quantum cores powered up in perfect synchronization. The technology they'd developed to defend Earth had evolved over months of combat and collaboration with other species. What had started as a shield had become something far more. Attention collective forces, Sarah broadcast on all frequencies. This is Dr. Sarah Chen of the Earth Liberation Fleet. Your empire of exploitation ends today. Surrender, and you will be treated fairly. Resist, and you will be dismantled. The response came immediately. High Speaker Velen's voice filled with rage. You primitives dare to threaten us. We have guided civilization in this galaxy for 50,000 years. We are the pinnacle of evolution. No, Sarah replied calmly. You're parasites who forgot how to evolve. Humanity refused your cage, and now we've shown others they can do the same. The collective fleet surged forward, weapons blazing. Energy beams and matter displacement torpedoes filled space, enough firepower to shatter planets. But the Liberation Fleet didn't move to evade. Quantum field reaching critical resonance. Dr. Liu reported. Ready on your mark. Sarah watched the collective weapons approach. Mark. Space itself seemed to shiver. The quantum field didn't just deflect the collective's attacks, it transformed them. Beams of energy twisted in impossible ways, torpedoes phased out of normal spacetime. The laws of physics within the field had been rewritten. Second phase, Sarah ordered. Begin quantum inversion. This was humanity's ultimate weapon, but not one of destruction. The quantum field began to ripple outward, transforming everything it touched. Collective ships found their mighty engines reduced to basic fusion drives. Their advanced weapons became simple projectile launchers. What are you doing? Velen's voice shook with fear. showing you what true evolution looks like. Sarah replied, "Humanity didn't just advance our technology. We fundamentally changed how we think about power and progress." The Liberation Fleet moved forward, their ships untouched by the quantum inversion. They had evolved beyond the collective's understanding of physics, beyond their concept of warfare itself. "Their fleet is disabled," Marcus reported. "Quantum inversion has reduced their technology to pre-space flight levels. Boarding teams are ready." Sarah nodded. "Begin the final phase. Broadcast the truth to every world in collective space." Quantum transmitters activated, carrying messages to every enslaved civilization. The true history of the collective's rise to power, their systematic exploitation of younger races, their deliberate suppression of technological and social advancement, all of it exposed. The 7 engineered stars of the collective's home system pulsed in harmony as the quantum field reached them. Not destroying, but transforming. Their artificial orbits shifted, returning to natural patterns for the first time in millennia. "Dr. Chen," the AI announced, "we're receiving transmissions from multiple collective worlds. They're requesting liberation." In the following hours, the corrupt leadership of the collective was arrested by joint teams from multiple freed civilizations. Their vast archives were opened, their hidden wealth redistributed to the worlds they had exploited. But most importantly, their lies were exposed. Sarah stood in the collective's ancient council chamber, now transformed into the headquarters of the new Galactic Alliance. Representatives from hundreds of worlds, former protectorates, and newly freed civilizations alike, gathered to shape the future. "The age of submission is over," she addressed the assembly. "But we're not here to create a new empire. Earth doesn't seek to rule or control. We want to build something different." She gestured, and a quantum hologram filled the chamber, showing the galaxy transformed. Not divided into protected and protector, not stratified by artificial technological barriers, but interconnected by quantum links that allowed all civilizations to grow and advance together. The collective's greatest fear was that younger races would surpass them, she continued. They forgot that true strength comes from lifting others up, not holding them down. Humanity refused their protection, not just for ourselves, but for all of you. The assembly erupted in applause. The new Galactic Alliance would be built on principles of mutual aid and shared advancement. Every civilization would be free to develop at their own pace, to contribute their unique perspectives and abilities. Admiral Rivera joined her at the podium. "The quantum network is established. All member worlds now have access to the defensive grid. No one will ever be able to enslave another civilization again." Sarah looked out at the assembled representatives. Human, Protean, Centaurian, Rigelian, and dozens of other species. Each had suffered under the collective's protection. Each had chosen to rise above revenge and help build something better. "The stars are free," she said simply, "and together we'll make sure they stay that way." High above, the 7 stars of the former collective capital continued their new dance, no longer bound in artificial patterns. Like the civilizations below, they had been returned to their natural state, not controlled, but free to follow their own path through the vast expanse of space. The age of the collective was over. The age of humanity, not as conquerors or controllers, but as liberators and allies, had begun. And across the galaxy, countless worlds looked to the future with hope, knowing that they would never again have to accept chains disguised as protection. The stars had trembled, but they hadn't fallen. They had been set free.